position is that the Black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the Black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in our Black family structure. Now, of course, there are many Black people who consider those fighting words because as Black women, we have never been subject to the kind of examination that our men have been subject to since we have been here. We have been somewhat protected and shielded from any kind of critiquing about our personal behavior, whereas our men have always been up for examination. The book is not an attack on Black women. I have never said that all Black women do everything that I list in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything that I list in the book, but most of us do some of the things that I've listed in my book. And I do say that it is not because of generalizations that we are all victimized by some of the negative patterns of behavior in the book, but the book just represents our collective contribution. This is some of everything that we have done or that we do daily that contributes to the breakup of our relationship, the destruction of our man, and the failure of our children to be able to function. They did not tell us that all of that being my own person and I'm independent would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a Black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. The women that had men, if they got a bunch of children, they need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in our projects across the country. It's one of the major places that we have a drug problem. We talk about the great strength that we have as Black women. Well, the welfare department don't rent government apartments to single Black men. Those apartments belong to Black women who are allowing this to go on in their home. We have not looked at what part of the responsibility do we share. Yes, Black men sell a lot of drugs, and a lot of us Black women get the money from them drugs and buy some of these fancy clothes we wear. Drive around in some of these fancy cars. He is not doing these things alone and without support from us, whether they are good or bad. See, we have a lot of power. We are very strong women. I'm saying that we're using our strength in the wrong direction. We're using it to tear our man down, tear our nation down instead of building it up. Having an education and a job does not necessarily mean you have a successful life. I keep telling Black women that to raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child, that's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who are, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the Black female emotionalism. They're doubtful, they're indecisive, they can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man because we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge.
Hold on. Let me hold on, guys.
Hold on.
I wanna bring it back real quick. Listen, guys, this is a new sound setup. So I'm not sure how many of y'all were hearing kind of what was happening. Hopefully it was the lot of you. Let me pause it right there. And I think that's important because god damn, she was going the goddamn in.
She be going in.
Shit, she was going in. One of the things that she was talking about is how women cannot raise men. Right. So there's an idea within Black culture that has stricken us, unable to even combat the idea that a woman is all it takes to raise a young man. And, I've talked about examples before where, a dude around, a young man around all of his aunties, and, they start twerking, he starts twerking, and then they don't shut that down potentially because, they don't have that perspective of manhood and this, that, and the third. So like there, and then he grows up, he's seen emotion running rampant throughout his life, and he doesn't know how to, deal with rationale and logic, and right. So, and then and then what is created is a dude who just reacts in situations and doesn't respond to situations in a very measured way, which distinguishes in a more emotionally led decision versus a rational and logically made decision, which I think that degree of masculinity we have lost sight of that and the importance of that, right? Like when we talk about the yin and the yang, I'm not saying that holding within your emotion is inferior to men, but in certain decisions, you cannot go off of a gut emotional reaction, and you need a degree of rationale, logic, and understanding of empathy to make an informed leadership decision that are best for the participants of that action or the participants of that decision.
And that can only be taught by a man.
It can be best taught by a man if he's teaching a young man.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Right. But if you look at the rates of single mothers that are raising, it's like 75% that are raising young men.
Yeah.
And there's a degree of, to your point, your earlier point, things outside of feminism that are right. You could systematic oppression, the war on drugs that have stripping the Black man out of the home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can agree that all those things are inherent within our society, and we have done things to stamp those things. I keep on spitting. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
To stamp those things out.
Yeah.
However, feminism, thinking on the idea of feminism, right? That we are all equal. The not understanding that there's masculine roles and feminine roles, and the importance of having a man in the household, right?
Yeah.
She's touching on those things that have led to the breakdown of the Black family, but then also like the emasculation of the Black man, which I'd still argue is the leader in the Black family, especially if you think about the religious hierarchy. Right. Like you look to a man, right? Like you look to the person that would be selected in war, right? Like if a draft was to come. And that's not to, again, I want to recircle on this, it's not to take away the importance of femininity. That's not what I'm saying. But for that, you think about a head of a household, and in its religious sense, in its traditional sense, the importance of that gets removed in these ideas of feminism.
So my question, right, and this is a genuine question.
Yes.
Me wanting more for my life in the sense of...
Has nothing to do with anything I just said.
No.
Okay, no, I'm listening. No, I'm listening.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that there's a distinction between you wanting more versus everything that I just said. Now, you have to understand that there's a large component of people who identify with the feminist movement that also identify with the way that I articulated that. And, and I agree with you wanting more. I understand all of that, but you also have to acknowledge that.
Right, but I'm relating it to what she said, right?
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt.
She said women, wanting to work and being out of the household, essentially. I'm saying, how does that equal a men being less than, or me trying to tear you down?
What is less of an importance of what having a man in that household is, or not even just even in the household. You not even think about it from like having a child there. But men are confused. We're confused because it's a microaggression to hold the door open for you. It's you tell us that you want chivalry, but you don't respect it. Right.
But it's on an individual basis. You're lump summing everybody, right? I like chivalry.
Yeah.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, she doesn't.
it doesn't make you choose you. It doesn't make you choose me more because of how chivalrous that I am. Because, we talked about the idea of a Tyrone earlier, where, you get women that select dudes that are not good for them because there's some cardinal need for the bad boy. But the bad boy is not going to raise your children well.
Mm.
So like there's an idea there where if you can rely on, I'm an independent and I can do what I want and I can sleep with who I want to, and I don't care about da 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 da, and then you're hooking up with the Tyrones, which is not going to be good for a provider. He's not going to be good for building up a household,
right?
Because he's got his own issues, But what we see is that that the selection within the dating pool might be skewed toward. You see this really high in the Black community, might be skewed towards a Tyrone as opposed to a dude that would be called corny back in high school. A Philip, yeah, would be nice.
A Carlton.
So I want your initial reaction based off of all these things. We can get back in the comments, but also we have some super chats to acknowledge.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just I agree with some of the things that she's saying. And then there's some things that I disagree with. I think we just see two different things. I'm hearing something different than what you're hearing. Okay.
So based off what she's saying, you're hearing something different?
I think that we're just hearing two different things.
Which is key. Which is key because I think you could take the word feminism and based off of where the pylon is placed for that definition in your mind is going to determine how you interpret what she's saying.
Absolutely.
When I hear what she's saying, I don't hear equal pay, like having equal pay for equal time, work experience, and contributions. I don't hear that at all. And again, I agree. Let's do all of that. If you do my job better than me, you should be paid more. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I do not agree. I do not disagree with that. Let's do all of that. I think this is a capitalistic society. Let's make the people who contribute more. Let's pay them more. That's what we do in capitalism. That's what we do. I agree. Yeah. Let's do all of that. I'm all for if that's just what feminism was, I'd be with it. Facts. I'd be with it, but it's not. There's other components within there. Like for example, I can't point a finger at the slut walk and say, I don't like that. And I can't do that.
Why can't you?
I can, but I might be shunned other than this platform because this is a safe space. But I might be looked at as unaccepting, that I don't think that a woman can have as many bodies as a dude can. I think that our anatomy is different, and it's okay because we're different, and there's ideas of feminism that try to equate us together, and we can be different.
Correct.
And right, and it's okay that we are different, but let's celebrate why we're different. A man can't be feminine generally. They can't be as feminine or well performing in femininity than a woman biologically. That cannot happen. However, if you were hanging off the end of a cliff and your eyes were closed and you had a choice between a man and a woman to lift you up, who would you choose?
I'm gonna choose the one that can lift me, the man,
because he's generally
stronger.
More stronger, and it don't mean that in that case you might be wrong. You might be wrong. Like the dude might be 5 foot, a buck soaking wet, and the woman might be 6'2", 200 pounds. So in that case, you'd be wrong. But in aggregate, right, like without the outliers, you would most likely select the dude. But it's okay because it's okay to be different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Disaronio was coursing through my veins. Listen, we're gonna get back in the chat. Let's acknowledge some of these super chats real quick.
We have daughters who grew up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man. because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television. It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together. Those rules have not worked for us. The white woman's liberation movement, we don't have anything to do with that. We have not been under the control of the black man for over 500 years, so what do we have to get liberated from him from? They haven't been our boss. That's the white woman and her man. They're going through that, and that's their business. We don't have any business being in there. They only introduced it to break down the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement started with the black man, the black woman, and the black child standing together, trying to plead for freedom, justice, and equality, and more benefits in the country that they had to have built. They threw the white woman in there with the women's liberation movement and made it a woman against man thing. That created a big separation between black men and black women, because then everybody started going for self. Then they bring the welfare system in and tell us in order to feed and clothe and house our children, we have to give up our man. You have to put the man out of the house. When the white farm wife goes to the government for subsidy for the farm, they don't tell her to get rid of the farmer. They keep that family together. But in the black community, they make it a requirement, because they want to keep endorsing into the black community that the black man is no good.
Oh,
You pause
so
it?
I did pause it.
All right, come on. Let's talk about it.
I agree with her. Her first statement when she said that I can't raise a man. I can, let me rephrase that. I can raise a man, but he's not going to be equipped with everything that he needs in this world. I can't equip him with everything that he's going to need, because I'm not a man. And I say this a lot. Like there's a organization that I work with every summer, and we do a self-esteem workshop with the female. And there's one year where I said, you know what, it's really important at the end of these workshops that these young women see a man and hear from a man and his perspective on things, because they may not have been around men growing up, or they may not have had a great role model or father figure in the home, or whoever it might have been. But I will say this: single mothers raising boys, black boys, any man, doesn't mean that they're alone. There are men around still, whether it's in school, whether it's in church, whether it's in the community, whether it's an uncle, a grandfather. It doesn't mean that because there's a single mother raising a boy that he's not going to get the things that he might need. There are other men in his life that can help equip him with the things that he's going to need.
Shout out to Adele Givens in the house. What are they talking about? Is that you?
Know.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know.
What I was saying about feminism is that it's not about equality. If it was, it would be called equality. Oh, impactful statement, my G. Because the bad thing means man and the good thing means woman. This is what I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
Is feminism really about equality?
I'm just gonna.
Feminism, the advocacy. You want to read it?
The advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes.
I think that's the dictionary definition.
I don't care what definition it is, still a definition.
It's still a definition, but we all know we can take definitions of shit and curtail it to our own
idea of it. Mm-hmm.
Our purpose of it.
Yeah, of
how we want to best suit what it is that we're doing to push an idea or ideology.
Isn't that what
forward.
we're doing now? That everybody.
No, I'd argue no.
No. I'm saying that in the sense of everybody is arguing their side of it, their idea of it. Right? Your idea of what feminism is and how it's been in your life, my idea of it and how it's worked in my life, right? Isn't that kind of what we're doing. He's talking about how it is for him in his world and what his perception of it is.
I think, yes, I think like this was one of the arguments that I had in the video that I did is we have different definitions of what it is dependent upon our home base of understanding and how we deal with it. I think like how you deal with it, I can't see because I'm not a woman. Right. So like you deal with things that you feel are not equal. I'd still argue, is it so much as women as it is as Black women? There's an argument in there because I don't know if you know, and I don't know how much of that is equated to each one of those different things. However, there is an idea there where feminism pushes equality in its Webster dictionary definition. But does it actually mean that? Does it actually mean that? Like, I think your definition and how you've talked about it through our discussion, it does mean that. And I think perhaps where the disconnect is between the viewers and the way that you're saying it is that I don't think that you prescribe to the ideas of feminism that they are relying on.
Right.
I think it's a little bit different.
I think it's on the other, like I said earlier, I think it's a spectrum. And some people are all the way to the left of the spectrum, and some people are in the middle, and some people are on the right side of it.
All right, well, let's click over real quick, and then let's see what else is going on.
What's going on?
That he is not deserving of respect. He is not deserving of us letting him give us any protection or instruction, and that we are better than them. The major responsibility that the Black woman has had on the earth for the trillions of years that we have been here has been one of nutrition and birthing children. Those two things have a great deal to do with the survival of any people, the reproduction of the nation, and feeding them the proper food so that they can live. Those are very important jobs. Those are very powerful positions because it puts us in a position to decide who's going to live or die and how slow they're going to die by what we feed them. We have a very powerful position. That's not a small role that we play. We have just been taught to misrepresent and misuse that power. The people who we have been counting on to give us the truth about how to get along have failed. The white people don't know how to get along. They don't have that information themselves. They don't get along with nobody on earth. So they didn't have no information to impart to us about how we're supposed to get along. They changed their relationship rules at will. We have, tons of Black children around this country that I hear from who have grown up traumatized by the fact that they were referred to as the outside child. When we were having children like that, they called it illegitimate children until the white woman started having them, and that's single parenting. See, they changed the rules according to what they're doing. So I've called on our people to change them depending on what we want to do, what our needs are. There's another need that has not been addressed in our community, because nobody would deal with it, and that's one that God did not create three sexes. We only have men and women. Now, I have not said that we should reject the sisters who try and act like men and the men who try and act like women. I'm not saying to reject them from among us, but they need to be taught. We don't have to accept that as some kind of normalcy because that's not normal. I'm trying to demonstrate how they have set rules that they have forced us to follow that they don't even follow themselves. They change the rules to suit them when they get ready. We can change them to suit us when we get ready, especially if we have what we have now, which is a failing system. It hasn't worked for us. We don't have to be ashamed that it hasn't worked for us. But we do have to be ashamed of the fact that we keep plodding behind it and not trying to make the corrections that will help our people to survive. He wants to keep us in this condition. He wants to keep us separated from our man. Because he knows that the only door, the only route he has to destroy our black man is through the black woman.
Through a black woman. So what she just said at the end there, let me adjust this to make sure we're not screaming at our viewers. And we're gonna head out of here, guys, in a few short minutes. Very short minutes is this idea that he knows, what she's saying is he is the white man knows that they can destroy the black man through the black woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's in essence is what she's saying. So that is really how you come at a man is through his woman.
Through the woman.
Psychological warfare.
Yeah. Yeah.
So within that, you introduce these ideas of feminism. And by introducing it, you are breaking them apart. If you break them apart, there is components within that family structure and dynamic that weakens in aggregate the people. So
no, that makes sense. Yes, I think it's important to understand if she's talking about this breaking up the family, you can easily come back and say, well, why let it? Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. I think, again, there has to be a shift in the thought process. It doesn't have to break up the family. It doesn't have to mean that if I'm going to do this, then we can't stay here. Mm-hmm. If we already know that we're powerful here, if we're better here, why can't we stay there? But go ahead.
I was going to say it's extra degree of difficulty when you introduce ideas to people that they feel empowered on. I think that there's a short-term benefit within that. But if you think of the long term of what it does to the family structure and the dynamic and the lack of importance or reliance on that man in those situations can be used as a tool to break down the fabric of who we are.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you.
Now, but I will admit and agree to the assertion that that's not the degree of feminism that you prescribe to, or is it? Because
no.
Okay.
Because I believe in the black family. I was raised in one, and while it was a different family, like I have a stepfather, I have a stepmother, but I have 4 parents who love me dearly and would do anything for me. I was very fortunate to have 2 moms and 2 dads, but I also got to see my great-grandparents in love for 64 years before my great-grandmother passed. I got to see that, you know what I mean? So I subscribe to a different idea than other people because I've gotten to see it. But I've seen, again, both sides of the spectrum, seeing my great-grandparents in a marriage for that long, then seeing my grandparents on both sides not in marriage.
It's huge.
You know, but my grandmothers being strong, beautiful, intelligent, independent women. But it didn't make them less of women who wanted to be a part of their community and in their family. It didn't make them less of that. And then I saw my parents continue on relationships without each other, raise families, and do it successfully apart in different marriages. So all of those things are possible. And I watched my mother throughout her career and her journey. And I've watched my stepmother throughout her career and her journey. I've seen women, Black women, do it successfully. So again, it's a mindset, but they're with partners who understand that and support them and have their own thing as well, but continue to come together as partners in a partnership to raise their family.
Do you think that men and women are equal?
No.
Kyle, thank you for the $2 super chat. She don't believe it either.
I know we're not equal.
Women have more rights than men and more benefits.
Can you list them, please? I'd like to know what your thoughts are on that, Kyle.
All the way to the left are the ones with the power. All the way to the left are the ones with the power.
Is he talking about the feminists all the way to the left?
Democrats started the Klan and welfare. Shit. He's true. He's right.
I could see.
He's right. He also said the serpent got to Adam through Eve. Damn. Yo, Kyle is just peppering. Kyle is like, he's a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got you. He's got you up against the corner. He's feeling good. Like, his jab game is strong. Like, he just pep. God damn. Look at brother says, go to bed.
Right.
Go to bed. Go to bed, you too. Yeah, we a little bit tired. We a little bit tired. Sheldon says we complementary but not equal. Salud. Yeah, we are. We are. Yeah. Yeah, Kyle, what he said? Facts, fixed T. But he says Kyle getting everything off his chest.
He
yeah.
Sure is.
Kyle, go ahead. Go ahead, Kyle. Let it all go, bro. But he's right. I mean, the serpent got Adam through Eve. Facts. That's written. You know, he's strong. His masculinity and his logic. But Eve came around. But Adam. But Adam. Or whatever y'all do, I can't. I'm a bad impression of nurturing. But you know what I'm doing. It's that shit that you feel and you're just like, as a dude, you're just like, oh, okay. Like, I can't just, but you know what I'm talking about. You guys have a good way of, I can't do it. I can't do it.
You said you can't do it, so just gave you the buzzer then.
That would have been better.
I know.
Listen, for the last 2 or so minutes that we on here,
hey.
Red light special, you on it.
No, that's all again.
That's it.